The title card.
Oops.
That's okay.
I forgot the title card.
That's okay.
Is the show ruined?
No.
Because we're live now.
Oh, we're live now.
Oh. We're live now.
I will not be on the show if there's not a title.
He is live. Hey, you are not supposed to talk yet.
Sorry. I don't know the rules to this.
We might as well just introduce him.
Good morning, you guys.
Hello.
Good morning. Bob Smiley is here. He's eating eggs. He's just relaxing, chilling, eating eggs because it's 4th of July. So
That's right.
We can just have fun. We are just setting up. I just realized I got to be able to see the comments.
Okay, now I think we're actually visible. I think it was just Bob the whole time. Bob was the title card.
Hey, Laura, would I be able to get the laptop? Because I got to see the comments.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, guys, we're just getting set up here.
What was that, Bob? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, feel free.
Okay, this will...
Absolutely love
Dude, that's why we're here.
all the show.
We're here to be that, for anybody, just people that you don't know.
Yeah.
Are you now? I had a question because we were just talking about breakfast, and you're really into your breakfast. Was it just eggs by itself? Like you didn't have any thing to the side? You don't have a side meal?
Hey, we buy what we can afford, okay? Don't make me feel bad. It's a recession, man. Come on.
Well,
It's,
no. The only reason I ask is because I've got a big pet peeve in me where I need to have 3 things on my plate. I don't know why. So the idea of just eggs.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, some people aren't satisfied with what God provides, so they search for other things. But me, I'm just eggs over medium, and I'm ready to start my day.
Yeah.
I'll play the God card early in the morning. Don't think just because it's early.
Oh, let's introduce him. Okay, we're going to introduce you, Bob, so pretend you're not here for a second.
No, we've been live this whole time.
Right, but
It's
we still
not
got to
showing up on Facebook. By live, do you mean I'm just in your apartment?
Yeah, we got to be honest, Bob. We don't even have a show. We just really wanted to see you.
We're having a conversation.
Yeah, how come it's not showing up on Facebook?
It should be. Type it on my comedy page.
It is definitely on Facebook right now.
Yes.
Wait a minute, Chris. You do comedy?
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it? Chris Wineland, Wineland. People always mispronounce it or misspell it. So
yeah, I'm on your Facebook page.
I'll tag you in this.
All right, guys, we are just getting set up. This is the first time we've done a Skype guest. This is weird.
Yes. I'm trying to.
Oh,
it's called the Super Low Budget Morning Show for a reason.
It's true.
I didn't know this was the first time. Those always go well.
You are the first guest, sir.
Yes.
Chris, what do you have to have with your eggs?
Good question. So I like to do cheese. That's what I was gonna say. All I put with anything is cheese. I'm such a cheese guy. And I like to go, I'm an old man too, I like to go to grocery stores and look around the cheese sections and look at all the fancier cheeses. I mean, fancy for a grocery store. And just stare, just look at the price deals. Because I'm also
American or Swiss, yeah.
Yeah, well, not even Swiss. Get some Blue Stilton. Cheeses like that. Just really get into it. So I tagged you. Did you happen to see the tag I put in you?
Oh, I may have you blocked because of the other messages that you keep sending. That may be what it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, but the cops talked to me, and I'm gonna lay off.
You're gonna back off just a little bit. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, no, I like just plain eggs. I like 2 eggs over medium. If I'm celebrating, it is. Oh, by the way, happy 4th of July to everybody, or people in England, as my friends in England call it, Wednesday.
I know. Are you a big 4th of July guy? Is this one a huge holiday? I mean, obviously it's a huge holiday, but for you, is it
okay? Yeah, it is. It is a huge. We do 2 big holidays. One, Halloween. We start planning in a month in advance, and 4th of July is normally a huge holiday. But this is the first year that I'm not at my house, and the chief of police lives 6 doors down from us. And he likes us because anytime there's like snakes or anything that, that needs dealt with because we live in a little enclosed neighborhood, he goes and gets the kids to go catch the snakes and do all this stuff. So he likes us. And I'm home during the week. So so what happens is the cops, you're not supposed to shoot fireworks, but we somehow get blessed with a lot of fireworks leading up to 4th of July. So every year, the same police officer drives by our house early at 7 o'clock, and he rolls down his window, and I walk out, and it's become this tradition. And he goes, "What's your arsenal look like?" And then I show him, like, I open the garage door, and it shows like all our stuff. And he goes, "All right, try to keep it where people can't see it from Highway 45." And then he drives away, and he says, "Unless I get called, I won't come back." And so he literally is going to drive by tonight at 7 o'clock and think, Bob must have died. Like, that's the only excuse. So yeah, we do 4th of July super big.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah.
So,
how long have you lived in Texas? Forever?
I lived in Texas for most of my life, and then I graduated from college. I did too. Sorry, usually people argue at that point. And then I moved to Nashville. I was in Nashville for 6 years, and then I realized you can't buy Bluebell ice cream, and so I had to get back to Texas. And so I got where I could. My career was not huge, but it was where I could fly anywhere. Like I just needed a good airport, so I didn't have to be in Nashville. Because when I first started, I was touring with all these Christian bands and stuff. But whenever I got to where I was doing more solo shows, I could live anywhere. So moved back to.
Wow.
It was weird. I sold my house in Nashville, and I naively thought I'll just drive and I'll just go buy a house in Austin, Texas. And I didn't realize they were building their houses out of gold, evidently. And I got there and was like, "Oh, all right, let's look at, cut and shoot. How's El Paso? I've got a pistol." So it was that kind of thing. So yeah, that's how I ended up in Texas.
Now, a couple of things. First off, thank you so much for coming on the show again. And a lot of people are coming in right now, so I just wanted to say good morning, happy 4th of July. Send your questions, put your questions on the comments to Bob Smiley. We've got Bob Smiley. He's one of my favorite comedians.
We're going to introduce him now?
Yes, we're going to actually introduce you now.
Wait a minute. Before you introduce me, because I do want this to be very, very professional.
Of course.
How do I find it? I can't find the Facebook Live one.
Oh, I tagged you.
You said you tagged me.
So
wait a minute. Did you tag Tim Hawkins? People do that all the time.
You got me. So if you go and search, type in Chris Wineland, and it's not the one that we're friends with. It's a picture of me on a mic. And that's my comedy page. And so in there, but also I shared it, right? So I also shared it. So if you go to my Facebook, which we are friends on Facebook, I believe, then you can find me there. And
okay, hang on, I may have found it. Oh yeah, here we go.
Okay, yeah, and so basically a lot of people are going to be they'll be putting up comments, questions, whatever, and we just have fun with that, and that's what makes us, the #1 low-budget morning show that exists in the country, because we talk to people. I see
you got 11 people watching.
Yeah, it's pretty big. We had 17 people before you came in.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so we're at a season medium right now.
Yeah, I would say this is perhaps one of the best shows we've ever done.
Okay, there's 13 people on. Somebody has to have a question for us.
I know. Steve Arnold just said, "What's the edgiest Christian joke you tell? The most people cringe but laugh." I have an answer on that.
Okay, let me hear your answer.
I do. No, I just realized it was too edgy. Well, so I start off in the clubs. You didn't start off in the clubs.
No, I was a Christian all my life. But go ahead, Chris.
Now, your first, I remember kind of hearing this about you. Your very first show that you ever did was at a college in a competition that you didn't know you were going to be in, right?
That was my first called stand-up. My first stand-up gig, actually, and it was in college as well, but I was a single starving artist, not starving artist, but starving college kid. And so I'd go visit my grandmother in the nursing home for a couple of reasons. One, I was thinking, hey, nurses, yeah, which did not turn out to be like on TV. And then the other one was, you could go and get free food. And what I discovered was, like, I would go visit my grandmother, and all these other elderly women, they're up there, and a lot of them is. I'm trying to be nice, but like a lot of them, their mind, was not sharp, and so a lot of them thought I was their grandson coming to visit, but they were so happy. I just pretended to be their grandson, and it was great. One year, I had 18 grandmothers. Like it was absolutely crazy, and I didn't have to remember my name. I didn't have to keep up with the name because the name would change all the time because they didn't remember. They just were happy for me to sit down and visit. And I did it a little bit for the birthday card money, because $5 times 18 adds up. But I would go to the nursing home, and they would ask me to get up and tell stories. Oh, wow. And so I would get up and kind of do some stand up like that. So that was really kind of my first thing. But then, my first paid gig was I did a stand-up competition my junior year in college, and they were having high school weekend, and they wanted to be the, hey, look at us, we're a fun college, and we have stand-up competitions, and we have they were really hitting the things that drew people to their college. Like they had drinking fountains, and well, that was about it. But it was. This was out in West Texas. Drinking fountains were important. So that was my first stand-up gig that I actually made money.
Now how come you never went to the clubs? Do you not believe that those people need Jesus, or?
I figured you were handling it on your own. Are you saying you weren't good enough?
No, I'm okay. I'm decent.
No, I was never going to do stand-up. I was going to be a teacher. That was what wow. I had my whole life planned out and was going to live for God. I just kind of forgot to ask God what he wanted me to do. Yeah. And so I was going to be a teacher and try to influence, kids. And I got my degree in elementary ed because I wanted to be like a positive male role model to kids. And I thought that was going to be my calling.
That's crazy.
So I did that stand-up competition just for the money, just to help pay for college and stuff. And then before I became a teacher, I wanted to see what it was like to make money. So I got a job as a photographer and did that for a year. Wow. And then that's when this guy he called me out of the blue, and he had seen me do that stand-up competition, and he was road managing Clay Cross, the Christian singer. Mm-hmm. And he said, hey, I need to hire a merchandise guy to go out on tour, but I also need, Clay said it'd be fun to have a comedian come out. So I thought you were funny and you were clean. Do you want to go out on tour? And he actually had paged me, and I pulled over at a Cracker Barrel payphone. And here's the weirdest deal. I can still visualize me standing at a Cracker Barrel payphone going, how long's the tour? And he told me, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Like so flippant. What? Like with no idea that a year and a half later I'd be touring with the Newsboys. It was never an idea that this was the goal. So that's why I never went to the clubs, because I flew out to Nashville, went on tour with Clay, and then Newsboys, and Supertones, and then Plank Eye and 5 Iron Frenzy. Like it just, I never had to go, to the clubs and work on stuff.
See that?
I didn't go to the clubs until 3 years ago. I didn't do one open mic night. And the reason why I did the open mic night was because Lakewood Church had heard that I had gone through a divorce. For the 7 listeners that are still on.
Hey, we are at 17 again, so we're at 17.
Are you at 17? Right. Oh, yeah. We need one more to break your record. We've got to break your record.
Well, we just hit 18. Actually,
okay, we're good.
Our record's at 21, so I think we can get there. I feel good.
Okay, this has got to be so. So my wife just walked away with it was a whole ordeal and stuff, and it broke up 2 families in the church. It was really bad. Yeah. That's my most awkward joke.
Oh yeah, do it.
Huge laugh. I'm talking about my girlfriend now, and I go, this is such a great. I go, my girlfriend's super sweet. She does this really cool thing where she doesn't cheat on me. It's adorable. And And it's everybody dies laughing, but then it always goes into a and I'm like, guys, the truth is the funniest stuff. Well, like you gotta,
So that totally stems to my probably most awkward joke at a church, which is very similar to yours, actually, Bob. I've been engaged twice before I met my wife. So my joke is I've been engaged twice before I met my wife. Engaged twice because comedians love callbacks, and I like
that's good.
Yeah, and it gets a laugh, but it always is followed up with this like weird and I'm like, relax, it's a great joke. I'm very excited about it. I love the joke.
It's an interesting business to be in because people are like, they come up after the show all the time, especially the last 3 years that I've been talking about I have 3 boys and what we've been going through. And it's had a great positive message that God can get you through anything and all that. But people will come up after and be like, man, thank you for being so vulnerable. Like that's the thing that people, they want to see, but they want to see it up until their comfort level. And so every night I have to try to guess what their comfort level is of how much I can share. But yeah, that's why I went to the open mic nights. Was Lakewood asked me if I would come and talk about the divorce and not talk about the like what led to the divorce and all that kind of stuff, but more talk about after the divorce and how you get through stuff and how you rely on God. And at the time I was talking about how God saved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like actually in the fire and not from the fire. And me and my boys were in the fire at the time, and God was doing some great things. And so, but my first job as a comedian, so I gotta make people laugh, right? So I went to the open mic nights to try out divorce material to see if it was funny enough so that I could have a positive message for people.
Right.
And it was great because I was going to go under an assumed name. I was going to be Jack Dillon, just because I didn't want anybody to recognize me in the club, and because I hadn't talked about, like, nobody knew I was divorced except for my close friends and you. And so I walked into the club and the host knew who I was, and he goes, Bob Smiley just walked in my club, and I was like, oh yeah, hey. And he's like, are you going to get up? And so here's what happened. He talked me into getting up, and all these, you know how open mic nights work.
Yeah.
All these comedians show up an hour early. They put this is the Houston Improv, so it's kind of a big deal. They put their names in the bucket, and then they draw, and they take a certain number of people. And so they all, not everybody gets on stage. I walked in, and the host automatically put my name up on the board. And so all these these new comics and stuff are like looking at me like, who's this jerk that thinks he can just walk in and get his name? So they wouldn't talk to me before the show, anything.
Wow.
And so they all get up and they're doing all their dirty material with no punchlines and everything. And I get up and I open with 2 jokes that I knew, that worked for my act. And then I did the divorce stuff, and it worked really well. And then I closed with a, closer. And it was only 5 minutes, but I walked off stage, and then all of a sudden, all these comics just surrounded me, and they were like, "That was awesome!" And one of them goes, "How long have you been doing comedy?" And I go, "That was my first open mic night," which is totally true. I've been doing it for 22 years, but yeah, that was my first open mic night. It was great.
Well, I remember one time I had somebody that was just so good. And I walked up and I asked the same thing, and they said, "Oh, this is my first open mic." And I remember the anger that was inside of me. I had to pray afterwards. It's like, Lord, you need to help me with this heart issue, because I was so mad at this guy because he was just so good. And I don't think he had. I don't know. Maybe it really was his first time. I don't know, but I wanted to just be like, "You're a liar." I was so upset.
There's no way.
Are you ever itching to get on stage and do stand up? Like, I know that you do it for a living, but is there ever like a day and you're like, I need to get on right now?
Two stories I'll tell you. We went to see Nate Bargatze.
Oh yes. How was he?
Sunday
live?
Night.
Good.
Okay. I really hope Tim Hawkins isn't watching this. I know he's not, because,
no, but he's not one of the 16.
Definitely not watching this.
He's not one of the 16. It was the best comedy show I've ever seen. It was hands down, and I've seen Cosby. I've seen tons of professional. It was the best comedy show I've ever seen from start to finish.
Really?
There was no Deadwood. He worked the crowd perfectly. It was put together brilliantly.
Yeah.
He was ending where you thought, okay, he's got to end on this joke because he can't top this.
Right.
And then he went to another bit, and I'm like, what's he doing? He's already done plenty of time, and oh no, he's got an even better ender. Like it was phenomenal. I was talking to him afterwards, and I was like, you know how comedians normally sit there and they think of little taglines for your friends and stuff. I was like, Nate, I sat there, I couldn't think of one tagline to help your show. That show is flawless. Like it was unbelievable. But the whole time I was watching him, like I was sitting next to Sarah, and I was just like I was fidgeting because I wanted to be on stage, like just being in the crowd and watching this master work the crowd perfectly. I was like, we need to go to an open mic night. But Houston Improv was the open mic night. So that was a time. And then the other time that I really was itching, I'd lost my voice, and it was really pretty scary. This was several years ago, and I had to go to a nose and throat doctor, which was a doctor. So I've got to run a cable down with a camera on it. And so I'm like, I really don't like, so I was trying to like gear myself up, and he took this camera and he put this stuff on it. And so I opened my mouth, and then he goes like this, and he puts it in my nose and starts running it down my nose.
What?
And he didn't tell me he was going to do that. And I was like, I think can I suggest a better route? There'd be less traffic today if you go through my throat. And, I was cracking jokes. And he said actually something really funny. He stopped as he was snaking my nose with his cable. And he looked at me and he goes, "Hey, I've had 3 years of online training. Don't tell me my business." I was like, he was a really funny ear, nose, and throat guy. And he looked like Jason Statham. So he was already automatically cool. But anyway, he told me that I had like nodes and stuff on my throat. So he said I couldn't talk for a month.
What?
A month. Yeah, my family was so happy. And so I had to take a month off of not doing stand-up. And I could whisper and I could write and stuff like that, but I couldn't like talk. And so 2 weeks into it, I didn't realize how crazy I was going, like because I wasn't getting on stage. And so I was at a grocery store, and I was standing in line, and there was a married couple in front of me. And so I made a marriage joke, and they laughed. And so I did another marriage joke. And these are all jokes from my act.
Yeah.
And they laughed again. And before I know it, and honestly, this was an out-of-body experience. Before I knew it, I had moved out of line, and I was doing stand-up. I was doing stand-up for the whole line at HEB. And not even realizing it, but it was because I craved it so badly. Like when I just casually said a joke and I heard that laughter, my mind instantly went into, okay, do a show. So I was like doing jokes as people were like going through paying for their stuff. And so, yeah, I get real itchy whenever I'm watching, guys up there doing it and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I totally get the same thing. My first year I did like 200 shows, but it was all at Taco Bell's. And because I was in Niles, Ohio, we only had one club, and they only let me on Wednesdays. So I would literally walk into Taco Bell, see people eating, and be like, "Can I just do jokes to you?" And they're like, "Okay." So I did.
Yeah.
Like I did a show in an elevator one time with 5 people. So it was.
I have a question.
Yes. Okay. So So here's Marcus.
Hi. I just want to know. You said you performed with the Newsboys, so I just want to know what version of Michael Tate do you like the best? Like which band version? Because he's been in like every band, so that was kind of like my question.
I'm gonna go with Curious George.
Curious George. Was that a band? Was that a band that he was in?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was his band, wasn't it?
Probably.
Originally.
No. After DC Talk, I think he was in. I think it was Curious George, and then it was Tate.
Oh yeah.
That's so
You're right.
neat. That's
crazy.
It'll be great. I'm sure if like Ken Burns did a documentary on Michael Tate, it'd be longer than the baseball documentary for sure.
Yeah. So, and you just recently saw them. Did you get to hang out with?
Yeah, I did. So they're all united because when I toured with them, it was Peter Furler and Phil Joel and all those guys. And I knew Tate just from festivals and stuff. But so we went to the Newsboys United, and it was super cool. And Sarah, my girlfriend, she she grew up listening to DC Talk and all that. And so she was in Colorado one time when Tate was performing, and she got his set list and got him to sign it, and thought it was like super cool. So we walked backstage, and Peter was the first one that saw us, and so he was like Bobby, and came over, and so then all the other guys came out, and so it was really cool because Sarah, she didn't have that, she didn't grow up like with this backstage experience and stuff, and so all of a sudden all of the Newsboys and all these people that she listened to was all around, and Tate was like, "And who is this?" And I was like, "This is my girlfriend Sarah," and Tate goes, "Well, then Sarah gets a hug," and hugged Sarah. And I looked and I was like, okay, I'm definitely in now. Like, the boys showed up and helped me secure that this relationship's going to go really well.
Yeah, that's a good move.
It was great. Yeah, so if the boys are listening, man, thanks again for the help.
They are listening. They're one of the 14. It's a pretty tight group, but it's all celebrities, believe it or not, that watch. It's
probably all the original, like, it's probably everybody that's been in the band. So, yeah, I want to say hi to Paul and... Yeah.
Paul McCartney. Marcus has another question.
No, Paul Coleman. Paul Coleman was in the band.
Well, I think the question I had, he already answered like earlier.
Oh.
So, how are you celebrating Independence Day?
And why not?
What do you mean, why not? I'm huge into the 4th of July is like one of the twos that we sell. Yeah, because we celebrate it. Well, here's the deal. We celebrated it very cheaply because we were very poor growing up. The joke I tell on stage is like we were like really poor, like had to eat cereal with a fork. I'll pause while Marcus gets that. There we go.
Nothing will freak me out more than just during a live stream.
That was just the best moment on this show that I've ever seen. There was a joke, and then it said, "We're gonna wait," and then we did. We all waited. And
we did.
Side note, that's one of my favorite things about your show, Bob. And for those watching, Bob Smiley was the very first comedian I've ever seen live. And it was like, I sat there. I was 16. This was in Ohio. I don't know if you remember that. Doing this show, it was a big Christian festival that existed in Ohio, and you gathered everybody in this group, and you were like, "Okay, everybody, the comedian's gonna start in 15 minutes," and then you walk away, and so I'm like, "Oh, okay," and then you come back in, and you're like, "Okay, comedian's gonna start in 10 minutes," and I said, "Okay." Then you said, comedian's going to start in 15 minutes again. And I was like, I bet this guy's the comedian. But I had never seen a live comic. And you get up on stage and you do, I love your style because you just do punchlines, like, constantly. And wherever you think the story's going, it's going somewhere else. And I sat there and I was like, oh my goodness, this is great. And I had never seen, like, a Christian who's a comedian. I've never seen a Christian comedian, so I didn't know it was possible. And I had just gotten saved. So I sat there and I was like, whoa, wait a second. I might be able to do this. And it like blew my mind. And we went and said hi to you afterwards. And my mom shook your hand and you said, okay, this is going to sound stalker because I just realized how much details I remember. I don't really remember anything else.
I like how you've given every detail, and now you're like, now this part may sound like I'm a stalker.
I know, I did everything. You were wearing a blue hoodie. Anyway.
Yeah, your watch was 3 minutes too fast.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting how I feel like I was definitely made to do comedy because I remember, like, anytime somebody would tell a joke, I would always think about the timing. Like, I don't even know why, before I ever even knew I would do comedy. So I was sitting there, and my first thought to watch you was like, man, this guy's timing is incredible. But it's like, what did I know? I had never even done comedy ever. So for some reason, I just thought, but yeah, you were just, it was awesome. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
Wait a minute, what did your mom say?
Oh yeah, so this is what's funny. My mom, which she might even be watching the show, she went up to you and shook your hand, and then you said, so where do you guys live? And she's like, oh, we live not too far from here. And we walk away, and my mom goes, oh, I think he wanted to come over to the house. And I was like, I don't think that's what he wanted, Mom. I I don't think that's what he wanted.
Okay, I totally remember that because I felt like God was calling me to mentor into your life, and so I wanted to come over. And your mom would not invite me over. I totally remember that now.
No, well, so about a year later, I sent you a video of me doing stand-up. It was a terrible video. I had like maybe 5 jokes in that video, and you...
Yeah, I remember, and it was an hour long. But you did. You had 4...
It was, yeah, 5 minutes for an hour. And you replied, and I was like, hey, like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is great. I was just wondering if you could give me some tips. And you did. And I remember being like, man, that was awesome. And there's a bunch of other comics that didn't. I'm not going to say who they are, but you've gone on tour with him.
Yeah, I really do try to, like, and that's a big message. Kind of my shows, I'm seeing it evolve. I'm not writing bits about this, but everything I've been writing lately has been going around the idea of that we're built for community. And so I really am trying to, especially with other comics, try to, reach out. And I like to talk to them while they're not looking at me on the screen and, stuff like that.
Oh, my mom just corrected. I guess she also said that you had a cold during that.
I had a cold?
Yeah. Yeah, she thought
No, that was back in my salad days. I always looked sickly. Oh. I couldn't afford food, which is why I wanted her to invite me over for a pot roast, but she didn't.
Oh, we would have. She's a good cook. She makes some good food. Yeah. Do you cook food, or do you?
I do now. Yeah, I've learned how to cook. Yeah. When I became a single dad raising 3 kids, like there was about a month of panic because, like, I was trying to teach the kids how to do the dishwasher and the laundry, and which we could all do at once because we have a really big pool. But there was this panic of like, okay, now I've got to learn how to cook. I've got to learn how to do everything while trying to run my career. And, when I'm on the road, who's going to watch the kid? It was this whole big deal. So I had some people from my church, specifically, I'm going to give her a shout out. Brianna Donahoe started coming over. Yay, Brianna, thanks for saving the Smiley Boys. She really did come in and save the Smiley Boys. Awesome. But a lot of times she would cook food and bring it over, but she would also, like, I would call her and be like, this baked potato's not cooking. And she's like, that's because, you have it in the washing machine and not the microwave, and stuff like that. Like, it was really trial and error kind of stuff. And she would talk me through that. So now I'm actually a pretty good cook.
Well, now you're a pro, right? All I got to say is pride is a fall of man, Bob. So
I'm actually a really good cook.
I'm not saying pro.
I'm actually a really good cook, but my wife won't ever let me in the kitchen. So
really?
She'll never know.
I am a good cook. My wife does let me in the kitchen, and I love it. We should, the 3 of us. Whoa, look at that. Is that a biscuit? Is that a...
That is a biscuit.
It's a biscuit. Is it buttery?
Look at that. It's not buttery yet because I'm trying to stay healthy, but look.
That flakes just like in the commercial.
There you go.
Oh, man. Is that homemade? Did you make it?
It's homemade from scratch.
What? Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys should send that over.
Yeah.
On our show, because we are the super low budget morning show, we actually have our guests get us gifts because we're so
That's true. Yeah.
So if you ever want to send us...
Oh, man. I got to go, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Actually, it
is time to go.
It is time to go. We promised the people about...
And on that note...
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say, Marcus, to Bob? Oh, yes, Bob. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, I knew this was a super low budget, and it's funny because I was thinking about how we used to celebrate 4th of July whenever we were poor. That's what I started to say.
Oh, yeah.
Was I would look back, like, what I thought we would do fireworks was, like, our sparklers, I realized were just my uncle's lighter. Like, that was what we called a sparkler. And my dad we had Roman candles, and this is totally true. And I know my dad did this just because he was messing with us. For years, I thought Roman candles was, on 4th of July, you lit a candle, and then you roamed around the house celebrating the 4th of July. That was our Roman candles. And so, because my parents wouldn't buy fireworks. Like, it was, like, really, and do not ask what we did for black cats. But yeah, it was very low budget, kind of 4th of July, but it started there. Yeah, it's burning money. That's right.
Burning money.
Yeah, Cheryl says fireworks is just burning money.
It is.
So
it really is. That's so funny. Yeah,
but we're gonna burn some money today.
Yeah, go burn some money. We should have all hung out. It's too bad we didn't take a plane ride to your house, because then that would have been extra stalkery. But
yeah, it would have been. That would be great. Yeah.
We should start doing that on the show, just stalking all the
just
guests.
Tell people they're gonna be a guest on our show, and we
get them to Skype and then just say, "Hey, we're knocking on your door," and just watch them freak out.
Yeah, right. That'll be great.
Yeah.
We'll have to have you back, Bob, so we can do that to you. All right. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people? We've been hitting up. My mom says Jesus loves you.
Say hi to everybody.
Something you need to know.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
this is Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. How's it going? I know you can't hear me.
Fantastic.
So I'm just gonna make.
You
a lot
can't
of
hear
comments.
him, but you really don't want to hear him. Like he's.
You don't want to. I have a weird voice.
I like the ways. The flowers are very festive.
Yeah, they're. This is the low budget morning show.
Yeah, Sarah.
Super.
This is for you.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is for you. These are flowers, if you will.
It's for you.
Aw.
No. We're not going to start that because we're not going to start giving her flowers.
I'm
So
joking. This
low.
is for my wife. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we want to keep the bar like just right where you can barely get a magazine under it.
That was my wife's. My wife brought that, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't let Chris take credit for these.
True.
So
these are all my wife's, not Chris's wife.
So Chris's wife is getting some flowers from Marcus's wife.
Correct.
That's true.
Yeah, I think
that's fair. Yeah.
I think that sums up the show. I don't think we need anything after that.
No, this is good. Well, thanks so much for doing the show, man. This is great. This has been an awesome thing for me, just to have you on. And goodbye to your girlfriend. She's gone.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
gone.
we're at her parents this weekend or this it's the middle of the week. We're at her parents. It's weird because I work on the weekend, so I always consider like Tuesday, Wednesday like my weekends.
Right. Do you have a show coming up that you want to plug?
I'm in South Dakota at a motorcycle rally on Saturday. Yeah, South Dakota. Yeah, I'm not. You're in Arizona, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not in Arizona anytime soon. What's up with Arizona?
I don't know. Well, they all booked me instead. So I honestly, I do so many bookings
show you
out here.
The elevator.
I've had churches contact me, and I'm the only Christian comic out here that's like. I mean, there's a couple others, but I'm the, I don't know, I guess Christian comic or whatever. So I get booked in Arizona like constantly, which I'm fine.
Oh, wow.
So I'm taking the bookings.
Yeah. Well, if you ever can't make an elevator show, just let me know.
Yes.
I'll show up.
All right. Well, hey, thanks so much, Bob. I have a great 4th of July. Go burn some money and Black Cats or whatever you're doing. And enjoy your Texas, your life out there.
All right. We'll see you guys. Bye.
See ya. Thank you guys for watching. Have fun. We will see you next week. Go quit your day job. That's it.
Bye.